David Montgomery, so happy to be back for the playoffs. Guys, we have some wonderful and exciting news coming out of Allen Park as far as the injury front is concerned for the Detroit Lions. Big divisional round matchup against the Washington Commies. I couldn't be happier about the news that we're seeing. Not only are we going to talk about the three key guys that we were focused on yesterday, but we got a little bit of news about our other rookie corner. I got a couple articles here pulled up for you guys. We're going to be doing just one upload today. I'm trying to get a couple chores done around the house here. So it is Mash Wednesday. Mash Wednesday at the Hat and Beard Show, where we like to give you guys a little update, little medical update on everything going, the comings and goings, guys. Before we get into it, I got an article here from NFL.com, as well as we'll be jumping over to MLive for a little bit of local appeal and attraction here on the Detroit Lions. Before we get into it, do me a rock solid. Why don't you go ahead and walk on over and poke the like button if you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you want to be a part of the Hat and Beard gang. Comment down below how impactful you think some of these guys returning will be, or maybe they're inavailability, not availability, inavailability, not availability. How impactful that could be, especially considering how important that position group is to the team. So, and feel free to share this around with all your friends. That'd be great for the algorithm. It really helps us grow here. We are steamrolling right down the pike towards almost 700 subscribers, guys. So I really appreciate everything. Go ahead and check out the short form content that I made for you guys yesterday. People seem to like it-ish, a little divisive depending on your viewpoints. I thought it was hilarious, but that's neither here nor there. So, guys, let's get into it right over here. We're going to go over to NFL.com. Lions running back David Montgomery, so happy to be back for the playoffs. This is coming from Kevin Patra he's a senior news writer. Sonic and Knuckles are back at it. Detroit Lions bulldozing running back David Montgomery is ready for his return Saturday against the Washington Commies. After initially fearing he suffered a season-ending knee injury in Week 15, Montgomery has rehabbed, eschewing surgery. I think that's how you pronounce that. I have a 5th grade reading level on his MCL. So he basically dodged. We know this. He got a couple of opinions. Dodged surgery. Tuesday. Yeah, buddy. Tuesday, he was listed as a full participant. I was actually watching. I kept refreshing, seeing how practice went yesterday on my way into work, and then a little bit at work. Not going to lie, kind of was reading up on some articles. Protein shake burps. About Dave Montgomery and his availability, because you guys know that I am a huge Monty fan. I love me some Gibby, but David Montgomery, I love me a good, hard-nosed, gritty power back, and that's exactly what David Montgomery is. An excellent sign not only for his availability in the divisional round against Washington, but also for how much work he'll be able to handle. Full participant means green light, no pitch count, no restrictions. Obviously, you'll have a couple of days here, Thursday and Friday to just make sure everything's plumb level and square. We got the late game Saturday, be able to make sure everything's good to go all day, get some good energy in you, some good fuel, get ready to go into an absolute nightmare situation for the Washington Commies, walking into a hellhole that will be Ford Field. It will be electrifying in there. David Montgomery, go through his last final checks in pregame, should be ready to rip, roar, rock and roll. Imagine if he goes off for 2 tuggers, 2 of them against the Washington Commies, and they're not the best defense. I am a little worried about Bobby Wagner, okay? Because Bobby Wagner's been there, done that. And let's not forget, Bobby Wagner played the majority of his career in Seattle, who is divisional opponents of the St. Louis/LA Rams, where Jared Goff played, at this point, I think the bulk of his career, right? Technically. It's refreshing, Montgomery said Tuesday via ESPN's Eric Woodyard. Kind of to be back in the position where I can help the team. Yeah, I missed it. So happy to be back. And you always seen him on the sidelines throughout through his injury. He was always talking with Gibbs, helping out Gibbs, ready to go. But man, It's a whole nother level of energy for the player to be able to be actually on the field. Look at the Anzalone effect on our defense. Now, could that be at the same? Can you translate that for the Montgomery effect on offense? I don't know if it'll be that impactful. Our offense didn't miss that much production without David Montgomery, unfortunately. However, it adds a whole nother dynamic to our offense. You know, David Montgomery, actually, if you look at it statistically, he sees like a 17% uptick in air targets when playing a zone defense versus a man defense, right? So he's not only just this hard-nosed, bruising running back that we all love who had, I think 12 touchdowns on the season or something like that, but he also is very underrated and effective out of the backfield. The power back missed 3 games with injury, but insists he isn't rushing back, noting that he wouldn't play if he wasn't ready. So, and we know how the Lions are. They're pretty protective of their product. They don't tend to let guys go out there, and Robert Griffin III, their knee. So if both Montgomery and the organization weren't ready, he wasn't ready. So if they're both saying he's ready, he's ready. We know Montgomery suffered the injury in the shootout with the Bills. He had multiple opinions, ultimately deciding to do rehab to give himself a shot for in the postseason. Quote, I think the speculation that I was getting surgery or that was kind of the end-all, be-all. Nobody ever really knew, Monty said. So when it got put out, I didn't know that I was getting surgery. The media told me. So it was news to me, but I'm always pretty confident in who I am and how I prepare. Yeah, that's the media. Go ahead and just... And years ago, we maybe could have trusted the media in their first gunshot opinion. But in reality, we've seen it now time and time again. Look at Nick Wright and his just absolutely awful takes. Check my content out for me making fun of Nick Wright. It's just a lot of times they get it wrong. And in this case, they got it wrong. Everybody said Monty was going to have knee surgery, season-ending MCL knee surgery. He rehabbed it, and we'll see. We'll see Saturday against the Commies when he has 18 carries for 132 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 catches for 45 yards, maybe another touchdown. Maybe Monty goes full Jahmyr Gibbs against the Minnesota Vikings, and Monty has 4 touchdowns. Monty generated 775 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns on 185 carries in 14 games this season. His pairing with the dynamic Jahmyr Gibbs gives the Lions a duo that powers the NFL's top-scoring offense. Sonic and Knuckles, very reminiscent, although it's like you put a few more athletic pounds on CJ2K and took some of it away from Lendell White, and that's similar to the type of big punching attack that we have. The Titans back, or if you really want to think about it, you could think back to what was it like? In the early 2000s, the Bill Cowher coach Steelers, where they had a really gritty defense, and Ben Roethlisberger wasn't quite where he was, mid career, where he was really a top 6 quarterback in the league. They had Jerome Bettis, did they have Jerome Bettis and Fast Willie Parker, or was it Jerome Bettis and Deuce Staley, or was it Deuce Staley and Fast Willie Parker? Either way, they were mimicking that, or were even more recent, we're mimicking the Evan Ingram, Alvin Kamara, Drew Brees-led Saints, right? It'll mean a lot, Dan Campbell said. 5's a big part of us. He's a huge part. We read this yesterday. He's a bell cow. He's somebody that's a tone setter. He's a catalyst. So there's a place for him. There's a place for him here. So there'll be a place for him in this game. So it's going to be good to get him back. Right there. He's a tone setter and he's a catalyst. Y'all have heard me say that multiple times. And it's good to see that Dan Campbell sees it the same way. The Lions enter Saturday's tilt versus Washington with a significant advantage in the ground attack. Detroit's offensive ranked 6th in rushing in 2024, facing a Commanders defense that sat 30th. But they did limit Bucky Ducky Irving to, I think, 77 yards on 17 carries. Not overly productive, but not where you would like to be against the bottom-end rush defense in the league. So, good news on the David Montgomery front. Let's go ahead and kick it over here. We're going to run over to mlive.com. We've got Lions get 2 key starters back, but O-line misses walkthrough to open week. And you guys know how much I was really hoping that Kevin Zeitler would be ready for a nice playoff push. You know, I like to lean into that veteran leadership. However, of the big three that we've been keeping our eye on all week, Monty, Terrion Arnold, and Kevin Zeitler, I think I ranked it out yesterday where Kevin Zeitler was probably the third ranked in terms of importance because we do have just a nasty mauler in our rookie, Christian Mahogany, who I do think Christian Mahogany is the future starting guard for the Detroit Lions for the next 3-4 years, especially if it's on the right side and you pair just the absolute nastiness of Christian Mahogany with the animal that is future Hall of Famer Penei Sewell, right? It's just awesome. It's just awesome. So here we go. Allen Park Lions had 2 key starters back in action to open the divisional round week, while there is an offensive line injury to watch. Running back David Montgomery, we talked about that just a second ago, and cornerback. Oh no! I don't want to click on that ad. See, I don't like pop-ups and stuff. Like, they're getting good at it. I sound like a boomer. Oh, excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. We're still just dealing with a little bit of that sickness from last week. It's really annoying. And the cold, dry air does not help. Cornerback. No, wait. And cornerback Terrion Arnold foot were listed as full participants. It's worth noting the Lions held a walkthrough on Tuesday, so an estimated designation. But, so these are estimated designations. 5th grade reading level. Monty is expected to be back in action. We just talked about that. It means a lot to have 5. He's a big part of us. We talked about that. He's a catalyst. Arnold was carted off during the team's winner-take-all game against the Vikings, but every update regarding the rookies since that tough scene has been positive. He's considered day-to-day with a foot contusion and appears on track to deliver his post-game pledge to return. That's good news. On the other hand, offensive starting guard Kevin Zeitler, hamstring, along with cornerback Enos Rakestraw, hamstring illness, and defensive lineman Pat O'Connell calf were listed as non-participants. That's right, Enos Rakestraw. The window has been opened for him to return the 21-day, the 3-week window to come off of IR. So, although very, very late in the season, it's not a bad thing if Rakestraw can come back. The sample size is incredibly small on him. He has missed the majority of the year with a hamstring injury. Can he come back? Would he get any real repetitions? We're talking hypothetically be back for either divisional round or an NFC Championship game or, a Super Bowl. Would you feel comfortable rolling? This would be the big question. Obviously, we know where Kindle Vildor lands in my realm of I don't want him starting in an NFC Championship game. But if you're going into an NFC Championship game, or God help us, we get to the Super Bowl, who do you feel more comfortable rolling out in the secondary in the biggest game of the season? Do you feel comfortable rolling Kindle Vildor, who at least has experience, has been there a little bit, and hasn't played as bad as expected? Or do you throw a second-round rookie who has seen very limited action this year coming off of injury to go up against, hypothetically, a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes? Right? So that'll be a question that we need to look at down the road. However, right now, Enos Rakestraw just being available and possibly, again, having the window open and able to play is a good indicator that we are getting healthier, and just for depth alone, it would be a nice piece to have. Pat O'Connor being out, though, that sucks. That just sucks. We were already thin at the defensive line, and Pat O'Connor was having a relatively productive year considering what we expected out of him. You know what I'm saying? In lieu of an injured Ali McNeil, played a lot of high-valued snaps when Reeder was out at the beginning of the year. So that just sucks. And obviously Kevin Zeitler, you'd like to have him back. Rakestraw had his 21-day window, return window open last week. The rookie cornerback is on injured reserve with a hamstring injury, not playing since November. Yeah, so that's been a while. And even when he was on the roster, or even when he was active, he wasn't getting, because we had, so much depth ahead of him, so much talented depth. Carlton Davis was still healthy. Amik Robertson was blossoming, and you guys know how I feel about Amik Robertson. I've been giving him flowers all season long, talking about how important that signing was for us. And obviously, Terrion Arnold is and has been just outplaying Enos Rakestraw, even when healthy. O'Connor suffered an injury in the season finale, and Campbell has not sounded optimistic about his potential return. Zeitler is on track, though. He went down with a hamstring injury in the win over the Minnesota Vikings. He remained on the sideline watching the game, and there hasn't been much of an update since though. Again, hang on real quick. We'll just finish this up. I just know everybody's treatment has gone well, and we'll see, Campbell said when asked about Zeitler and Arnold on money. When Graham Glasgow missed a game down the stretch, it was rookie Christian Mahogany who filled his place in the starting lineup. Mahogany and Coyote Awosika are the top options to replace Zeitler at right guard if needed. So there is the optimistic viewpoint that Kevin Zeitler is a veteran, and they're going to let him rest. Potentially, he's totally fine. They're just going to let him get a little bit of a breather. It would be nice to have him against the big, nasty defensive tackles that play in Washington. Also, the veteran chess matchup between Goff and Frank Ragnow. It'd be nice to have Zeitler there to also help call protections against, say, a Bobby Wagner, Marshawn Lattimore. Again, another veteran guy back there. They got playmakers. The defense isn't the best in Washington, but they do have a bunch of Jimmies and Joes, right? They might not be so great at the X's and O's, but they got a ton of Jimmies and Joes, right? And if you're asking me, I would take a team that's got more Jimmies and Joes. I don't care if you know the X's and O's. So hopefully things tick up for us in the positive direction. Man, I'd like to see Zeitler back, though. Christian Mahogany makes me feel really, really comfortable in lieu of Kevin Zeitler, though how will he handle the big lights of the divisional round of a playoff game? Obviously, he's been seasoned on the back end of the year. He's got a little bit of exposure, knows the speed of the game, and played really, really, really well. Terrion Arnold being back. Massive, 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 massive. I have been calling for a Terrion Arnold breakout, an interception, a big game, and what not a perfect time than in the divisional round. Take advantage of your old college nemesis, Jayden Daniels. Get a nice little pick six. You know what I'm saying? Opening drive. A nice little 33-yard pick six, Terrion Arnold back off of injury, and then the commentators can have the whole story, the whole thing. And obviously, David Montgomery being the tone-setting catalyst, huge, massive part of the engine. We've been expecting him to be back by the divisional round of the playoffs since really about a week after he got hurt. It's good news. Full workload, full participant in practice. All right, I like that. Tomorrow, we will have maybe a little bit of a look ahead. Maybe we'll project. We'll take a look at the divisional round games early on in the morning. So that'll be probably our 1 o'clock upload tomorrow. So stick around. Make sure the notification bell's turned on for that. And then if we dual upload tomorrow, I'm thinking I actually read a few things about Ben Johnson that I'd like to discuss, and some things that I could see happening that almost make sense if you look at past patterns and where Ben Johnson is comfortable. So stick around. That'll probably be coming at you 4 o'clock tomorrow. Again, no second upload today. Trying to get a couple of chores done around the house. So I appreciate it. That's going to be it for me. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. Bonga bonga. Frig off.